Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hack Money DeFi Hackathon Judging Day 3. I am Kartik, one of the co-founders of ETHGlobal, and we are on our third day of judging our amazing submissions for the DeFi Hackathon that we've done for the past 5 weeks. So for those of you who don't know from the live stream, Hack Money was a hackathon organized by ETHGlobal, and over the past 4 weeks, we had a little bit over 350 hackers from 40 different countries and 15 different time zones compete and work on a lot of projects in the space of DeFi and Ethereum. We had amazing people from all these countries. We had over 40 mentors who were available and helped out our hackers with anything technical, product, and even market-related help requests. And an amazing set of sponsors that made all of this possible by dedicating their time and resources into making sure that the teams who wanted to build on top of their platforms were successful and got the help they need to actually take composability in this space to the next level. And let me say this one more time. We had over 350 hackers spend 4 weeks on hacking towards amazing projects in this space. And as of Sunday night, when submissions ended, we had 118 DeFi projects that came out of this event. And this is the entire week we're taking to make sure that we review them and they get to talk to the judges and everybody else about what they've done. And the third day of this is about making sure that we get to see the top projects for today. So I want to quickly walk over the logistics of how the next 2 hours are going to work. We have 14 teams today, and each team will get 4 minutes for a demo and 3 minutes for questions, so 7 minutes in total per team. And just to make sure that we're minimizing any AV difficulties, we've pre-recorded the demos for all the teams, and we'll be playing those videos directly as the teams go live. And as a quick overview of how this event and the teams were set up, the rules for this whole event were simple. A team could have a maximum of 5 members. They were still allowed to work individually if they wanted to, and a few of them did. And the only kind of main criteria was that they must incorporate DeFi primitives in their hacks. And then, of course, because the event started on the 24th of April, all code that was submitted for the hackathon must have been written over the course of the hackathon itself. So everybody is, everything you're going to see today will be the result of what was done over the course of 4 weeks. And in terms of kind of how judging will work, our judges will be rating and scoring these teams on these 5 categories, which would be the technicality and the originality and the practicality of a project, and also the design and the UX of their submission, and a general catch-all for any outliers that we call wow factor. And just to remind everybody on the live stream that this is not a competition. The teams are here to learn and build. The hackers are really here to share their excitement, and the judges are here to primarily give their feedback. Not everybody's trying to become a business from these companies, nor do we want them to do that necessarily. A lot of them are free to try out and experiment with this space, but the goal from our side is to ensure that there's a lot more experimentation. So quickly, the schedule for today is that these are the teams that will be going up one by one and talking about their demos. And the judges that we have for today, Calvin Liu from Compound, Alice Corsini from Provable Things, and Austin Griffith from the Ethereum Foundation, will be our 3 main judges that will be looking at all of our demos, giving feedback and asking questions to these teams, and doing the hard work that frankly we are extremely thankful for, and getting their comments on these projects. So with that, I want to actually kick off our very first demo for the day, and that is Project Kontext. So please welcome Project Kontext on to the Zoom call, and I'll let them take it from here.
Hey guys, so okay, cannot share my screen, but now I can. Cool. So I joined Hack Money to see if I can build an Ethereum app on my own, basically. And I took a JavaScript class and a React class, and then spent a decent amount way through Stack Overflow. And I noticed that especially on Ethereum problems, I still relied mainly on asking friends. But the thing is, solutions were there, but they were pretty hard to find, right? They're pretty hidden. So what I started to build was a social node tool that would be able to scale this Ethereum mentor relationship. And it's not a problem of content creation, like we don't need a Patreon clone, but rather curation. I want to incentivize people to link all those juicy bits of information hidden in newsletters and special forums and the depth of Twitter feeds and link them back to relevant sites with traffics, like you can see here, Ethereum.org. So with my Chrome extension, I can now edit the site's content, open notes, add highlights, or simply add links to useful related content and save everything to IPFS using 3box. And then any other application can pick this up. In this case, it's just my extension also being able to read that. So basically, you can add and share just like a shared Google document, only that now the whole internet becomes your shared Google document. And in its UX, it also follows the advantages of Reddit. So there are upvotes and downvotes, summing up to public measurement of reputation, just like Karma, and the advantage of Twitter, which means you can filter out public messages through your follows and allow the accounts you follow to retweet into your feed. So additional to serverless storage, also the difference is that your reputation is bound to your ETH address, which, for example, lets anyone directly reward you with crypto money. Users can choose to stay anonymous, or they can verify their Web2 identities from Twitter, Reddit, GitHub, or any other social platform, and this way import their existing reputation. So now also anyone could look up their Twitter name and find their corresponding linked ETH account. So it's like a decentralized address book, right? And I just want to make clear quickly that right now I'm using 3box interface, but later I want to integrate that into my UI, just make it feel like a product, right? But it's just awesome that if I simply use their work and build on top and just prototype quickly. I know Austin loves that. And up until now, we added content, right? And which is sort of the supply side of information. But now let's look at the demand side, at those guys who need content curated, for which I added bounties. So they allow anyone to signal the need for information and to add a price tag, and then match those guys with the content curators, which is pretty similar to Gitcoin, right? It's nothing new. With the difference that in the end, there is no wrong or right. There is no working code versus broken code. It's just information, right? So to fairly reward contributors, we need some subjective measure of quality of information. We want contributions from accounts you follow, but we also want from strangers, right? You want to scale it. And you want to make sure that those guys also don't spam you. So to guarantee this, you want to make sure you use your web of trust. And right now I'm following this guy, and this is just it's sort of like a DeFi copy of Twitter. You simply start by opening a funding pool of a certain topic, which could be, say, Ethereum Foundation, who want to have a continuous pool dedicated to curating links to DeFi projects on Ethereum.org. You open a fund, you fund the pool, then you follow your friends. Your friends then upvote the stranger's post, and when the bounty ends, you vote. You give feedback on every post and reward everyone according to those numbers, to the upvotes. And finally, this curation game is not just great for DeFi education, but because it's stored on IPFS, any application can access the curated information of these web of trust relationships between ETH addresses. So, for example, you could spot fake news, or you could curate MetaMask warnings for phishing sites, right? Or you could help EtherScan to tag malicious addresses quickly. Or you could do stuff like curate CSS code for any website, so you can get dark mode anywhere, right? And pay people for just putting up this CSS and whatever you can imagine, right? So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to get your feedback.
So just to start it off, just to think through it. So basically it's a browser extension that lets you write notes and share those notes with your social web of trust. And then using signed messages, basically you can basically build a web of trust between people, and that's all stored in IPFS. Is that a pretty good way to sum it up?
Exactly, yeah. And there's two ways to build this web of trust. Like you could import your Twitter, GitHub, or whatever, right? Or you could build it anonymously just with Vbox, just for your ETH address.
And is there a private key that's stored in the extension, or are you extending some other key management system?
So it's all built on Vbox, basically.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm using Portis, right?
Okay.
So for providing.
So Portis for the private keys and 3box for the storage and social graph.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the project is really cool. What I was interesting to know is, I mean, to me, it seems sort of a mix between something like Wikipedia and something like Twitter. So I was curious to know if you have implemented some way for the information to be accurate. So some sort of filtering like Wikipedia does, or if it's, just like Twitter where everyone can, put information there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I want to stress that this is not for information where you could say that it's wrong or right, but it's a movie recommendation or restaurant recommendation, which could be really valuable for you. And it's like a huge business for Netflix and TikTok and so on. You cannot judge it, right? You cannot make a normal bounty. So you need to filter it through your web of trust, for example, like Twitter. So I think parts of it you can compare to Twitter, parts of it you can compare to Reddit, parts of it to Wikipedia. And yeah, that's where I got inspired from. And I would love for it to become sort of playground for this kind of identity, reputation stuff and so on.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
you go, Calvin. Yeah.
As a user, I get this Chrome extension, and then I can go to any website and basically leave a comment there. And then in IPFS is stored like a link to the website and the comment.
I missed the first half of your sentence. Sorry.
As a user, I download this Chrome extension, and then any website I can basically leave a comment. And then on IPFS, there's like is stored all of my comments that are sort of linked to the websites that I visited.
Again, I don't know if it's my problem, but just like parts of your sentence dropped out. But I think you're right. Yeah, like everybody can download the Chrome extension and then comment or read the comments.
One worry I think he has is like, is your browser history stored somewhere where other people or even like a dApp developer could access it?
I mean, right now everything is public, right? So it's pretty much like Twitter where all the messages are public, but then you just sort the spam out yourself, basically. But I think like with Vbox, you could also do it privately, right? And you could have a button where you say, yo, just share it with people I follow, right? People I trust.
Yep.
So there's this possibility.
And what was the bounty thing? The bounty thing is basically like if you have a site that needs some social annotation added to it, you can bounty someone to come in and use your tool to put content there. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I would see it as an exchange, right? Like you need both sides to grow that network. So yeah, pretty much like you're saying, right? Like Ethereum Foundation could say, damn, we have a problem. Like we cannot make everybody happy. So we need to have some tool to enable everybody to see what they want to see, right? Like you're introducing a new problem, but maybe it's part of the solution.
That's really cool.
A really cool build. Yeah.
Yeah. It sort of makes me thinking about that site that used to be pretty popular, Stumble Upon. Like you could kind of have like curated lists of things people have stumbled upon that they want to share with their commentary on it. Is there any like specific use case that you're super excited about or that you would use it for immediately?
Yeah, just like nodes on Ethereum, really. Like that's literally the problem I had.
Yeah.
And I can see the problem of Ethereum Foundation, right? Not to put everything there because partly it could be advertisement and people are not happy about it and so on, right? It's like it's a thing. So I would totally use it for that. Yeah. I will.
Awesome. Well, Chris, thank you so much for showing us context. And with that, we'll get the next team up on our stage, and that's Team Income Jar. Please welcome Income Jar.
Am I sharing the video or are you?
No, you are not.
Okay.
But there should be like a button somewhere with share screen.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have the video pulled up, you can share it.
Yeah, you have to share it, Adam.
Hi, my name is Adam Blumberg, and I'm here to present our hack called the Income Jar. What we wanted to do, based on our time in traditional finance, is find a way to give people an income stream from the assets they already have. So in this case, they will deposit crypto assets, and we will give them an income stream with a really good rate of return behind it. So the way it works is a user is going to connect their wallet, decide on ETH or DAI, a length of income, which could be 1, 3, or 5 years in this case, and the frequency, which is monthly, quarterly, or annually, connect their wallet and approve. The deposit will leave their wallet. They will receive jar tokens, and a jar token is worth 1 DAI and will be paid at the first of the month. So now we'll talk about how this actually works. So now we're at the Income Jar website, where we have an explanation of how it works for our users. We go into a little more detail, have some frequently asked questions, and then you can create your stream. So we decide we want to be paid over 3 years, for instance, monthly payments, and we're going to make our deposit in ETH because that's what we have in our wallet. But we want to pay $300 worth of ETH. Now we've calculated that takes 1.48016 ETH. This is from Chainlink, and that we will get paid 386 DAI over the course of the 3 years, and we will get 11 DAI per month. So now we go to create. Let's do this, and we have to approve our transaction in MetaMask, and now we'll wait for that to click. Okay, now that the transaction has gone through the Robston testnet, I now have the jar tokens in my wallet, and if I connect my wallet now, I can hit the Get My Streams, and I'll see this is my wallet address. I made a deposit of 300 DAI in this case. My payments are going to be 11 DAI every payment period. The frequency of 12 tells me that it's monthly, and the duration of 3 tells me that it's annual. What we'll also be able to do is transfer this stream. So if I want to be able to send some of my tokens to someone else or sell some of my tokens to someone else, I can do so, and they will then get my payment stream. Okay, so behind the scenes is the fund management. Once a user deposits their funds in, it goes into an investment pool. We then look at the investment pool and we take 2 months worth of payout and put it into what we call the payout pool. This is where we keep money safe. It will be saved in DAI. So we'll always have 2 months worth of payouts, very safe. We will then have an investment pool that we will manage actively. Some of this will be using liquidity pools. Some of it will be doing various sorts of lending. We might do some staking. There are other ways to manage this investment pool. We'll also be calculating the net present value of that investment pool, and anything above the NPV will be sent into a safety pool, which we will manage only in lending protocols. Here's a diagram of that fund management. Some of the use cases we see are to remove the investment risk. If I've already made my money, I can now create an income stream out of it. I can send remittances back to my family in another country. I can use it for allowance for my kids in college. I might use it for certain payment terms like rent and mortgage or some sort of project escrow. Please visit our website, incomejar.io. If you have any questions, we look forward to answering them.
Okay.
Thanks for doing that, guys. I feel like this is probably right up Calvin's alley. He probably knows more about this than I do. So I'm gonna yield to other questions from other judges on this one first.
Awesome. Yeah, this is really nice. So one thing I'm not sure I caught is how the jar tokens interact with, I guess, the stream. So do you have to redeem them? Are they like somehow burned, or like how do you actually? It looks like they're sort of fungible tokens that are 1 DAI per 1 month, but how do you actually redeem them for the DAI?
They're ERC20 tokens. Jason, can you tell him how those are redeemed?
Yeah. For now, we started with an ERC20 token and thinking of venturing to 777 later. But because the whole key was tracking the tokens. So we're going to send you all of your jar tokens up front. So we know how many we sent you. We know the date we sent them to you on. So when we go to send you your monthly payment, we know if we've sent you any already and that sort of thing. So we know how many DAI to send you for that amount of jar tokens that you carry.
And then the jar, for instance, the jar tokens for June of 2020 will be burned,
right?
And you get the same number of DAI tokens.
Yep. That's the idea. And same with the transfer. Essentially, with the transfer, you're going to burn what you have, and the new person is going to get minted their new stuff.
So the day that you make the deposit, you'll get your June tokens, your July 2020, your August 2020, and such. And so at that date on the month, those will convert into DAI. And then the nice thing is, of course, we always know how much our cash flow is, our cash outflow will be. And you can then again trade those tokens, you can send them to someone else, but they can't spend them until that date.
Gotcha. Interesting.
They can transfer them all they want, but the numbers still stay the same for that stream owner where it originated from. The counts, we can keep track of all that stuff. And of course, some of it is still in the works because there's a lot of ends to touch points with that.
Yeah.
Once they start moving around from wallet to wallet, I can see it getting a lot more complex.
Yeah. Where do you actually track the sort of movements and, you know, what's due in which month?
Well, I've been using essentially events that emit the structs that were created from my contracts.
Cool.
With just the data that I push through the contracts.
And again, just from a financial perspective, this comes from our time mine and Ron's in the financial services world. Traditional financial services comes from the idea of annuities, where our clients have wanted to generate an income stream based on some level of assets they have. And we feel that as we try to get more adoption of DeFi and cryptocurrency and such, there needs to be more applications that kind of mirror what we've seen in traditional finance, because we feel like traditional finance has come a certain direction because there's been a demand for it. So this is something that we didn't see a certain product in the marketplace, and we decided that eventually that there will have to be something like this. And our goal is also to almost make this a white label where someone else could take the workings of it and do their own fund management behind the scenes, whether it's completely DeFi based or DeFi and CeFi based, and be able to create that income stream, much like an insurance company would create an annuity for their clients.
Any final comments from the judges?
Just making sure I understand it. So basically you guys set up an ERC20 that is locked in a contract, and then they invest and get those locked tokens, and you kind of run the fund and make it generate money. And then later on, they can turn their tokens back in at some time. And the smart contract basically says, you know, is it after this timestamp? And if it is, then it lets them swap those 20s for DAI or something like a stable coin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have team NYV.Money. And I'm going to play the video for them.
This is Naive, a stablecoin aggregator with built-in foreign exchange. I'm Kieran Fernando, otherwise known as Real Fernando on Twitter. Sponsors used UMA, Uniswap, Chainlink. The problem? Foreign exchange risk for non-Americans in the decentralized finance market. Take my word for it, it sucks. I could go on about it for days, but we're gonna have 4 minutes, so just take my word for it. Dollar bias. I feel the best way to fix this is basically through like local like stablecoins, right? Euro stablecoins, pound stablecoins, wherever you're from, rupee stablecoins. The problem is that the market doesn't reflect this, right? The majority of the market is driven by US dollar coins, and yeah, in Uniswap we're lucky enough to have one euro pair in the top 10, but still not enough, right? It's because of currencies like Tether. Basically, the entire market is dependent on Tether BTC pairs, right? And market cap drives stability, stability drives market cap. And that's why you can see like comparing DAI with USDC, well, bam, DAI's all over the place. And so how do we fix this? How do we enable non-US dollar coins and even smaller, less established US dollar coins to get into the game, right? The hypothesis is we can bootstrap less established stablecoins by providing and/or encouraging liquidity. By facilitating low-cap, domain-specific stablecoins, we can drive the free market, bringing DeFi everywhere. That is the dream, right? Essentially, how Naive works is you have source assets that get turned into Naive assets through a depositor. You can take 1 DAI, get 1 Naive dollar. Take 1 million DAI, get 1 million Naive dollars, right? You can take however many stasis, you get the same amount of Naive euros, right? And that works for every single currency that we support. The idea is that we can maintain this peg through Uniswap, and we can give them the option to use a depositor. Also, if you want to turn your Naive dollars into Naive euros or whatever, bam, Naive exchange takes the right price from Chainlink, right? So depositor contract, beautiful, takes the input capital, goes to Uniswap. I can show you how that works right now. Okay, you've got some UMA euros created token facility. You want to turn that into Naive because Naive is more liquid. Bam, that's the transaction. Let's sign it. Okay, see what happens. Okay, magic. I can show you that. Okay, you can see. Bam, some magic happens. Some stuff happened on Uniswap. Liquidity got created, and Naive euros got sent into someone's account. And you can see that right now. Bam, 1,000 Naive euros. Amazing. Okay, great. It's a simple depositor. Really simple. Doesn't have an oracle. Doesn't have anything like that. Just has a minimum value of Naive asset. Naive value for the Naive asset that tolerates. If that's not met, it just reverts. Rudimentary stability mechanism. Okay, the Naive exchange. That's basically what guarantees euro tokens, whatever pound tokens are kind of pegged to what they should be, because we can just turn them into Naive dollars. Let me show you how that works. I want to turn 500 euros into 544.92. Okay, let's look at the transaction. I'm about to sign it, and bam, I get around to it, and look, happened, magic. Okay, and that's it. Literally just Chainlink. Right? We take the figure in, burn it, and kind of mint the right amount based on the Chainlink oracle. Really simple. And how do you access the demo? You go into GitHub, get some Rinkeby DAI, follow the instructions, bam, you're good. Okay, use cases, remittance. Literally, you can turn your money to any currency instantly. You can bootstrap really simple, like early stage stablecoins, hold power for an investment all over the globe, etc. Right? Yeah, it won't work in real life. This demo will not work. That's why we're working on some more sophisticated solutions that would, including kind of like streaming the deposit so they can't just cash out instantly if they have like a change in their mind, but confidence, having a DAO, stuff. Just basically ask me about white paper. I'll tell you. Hey.
Thanks a lot for presenting this. I think it's a very interesting concept. And I have a couple of questions actually. So a first question is how do you, so my understanding is that basically this project focuses on sort of converting the stablecoin pegged to US dollars into some other country-specific currency. So while I understand the part where you convert from US dollar into Naive token, I was wondering how the other side of things works. So if I'm supposed to receive, I don't know, like euros or whatever other currency, or I don't know, GBP. So is there an interface where I can convert my naive token into this other stablecoin, or how does it work?
Okay, so right now there is no interface. It's just through Etherscan, the contract's approved, so you kind of like have to manually do it. The idea is that if you wanted to turn like a fiat euro stablecoin into like USDC, the idea is you turn your stasis euros into naive euros, and then you'd go through the naive exchange, and then you get naive dollars, and then you'd go through Uniswap to essentially redeem the USDC.
I see. Okay. And then I had another question that I think it was me not understanding how it exactly works, because I think at some point you mentioned that it doesn't depend on an oracle, but then you also mentioned that you are using Chainlink. So I was wondering like how
yes.
Exactly
So essentially, like what it is that the depositors are different from the exchange. So the system which turns USDC into naive dollars, which is like a one-way thing. So you turn USDC into naive dollars. But if you want to turn it back, you have to go through Uniswap. That doesn't use an oracle. What that does is it basically compares the reserve ratios on Uniswap based on the given user parameters. It doesn't use a Uniswap oracle, just checks whether the ratios are within set parameters.
I see. Okay, thanks.
That's interesting. Could you, is there a reason you can or can't just, I guess you have like the collateral assets pool. You couldn't just let people turn naive assets back into the underlying assets if there's enough liquidity?
Yeah, because that would reduce the liquidity, yeah.
So this sort of, I guess, reminds me of like the synthetic assets on synthetics a little bit. But it'd be like if you could deposit any form of dollar peg stablecoin, and then you sort of get like one naive stablecoin that is like aggregates all that liquidity.
Yeah, sort of. So instead of like with synthetics, so you have to like get SNX, so you have to get SETH, turn that into like S dollars. The idea is like basically any currency within the network would technically work, and we're just building on top of Uniswap.
Yeah, I've seen like you know, like Pi DAO with the sort of BTC, the different ERC20 BTCs that are wrapped together into one token. I feel like this is maybe a pretty interesting trend that's sort of starting to arise that you're tapping into.
Yeah, it's you weren't just wrapping one asset, but you're wrapping a bunch of things, and the fact that they're all wrapped with the same wrapper gives them some kind of harmonious way of exchanging.
Exactly.
Right?
So like, so for DAI and USDC and Tether, they don't really need it. But let's say, for example, Liquidity Protocol is about to come out. How do you bootstrap liquidity for Liquidity Protocol, a brand new US dollar stablecoin? Or even like, if I wanted to create a really niche stablecoin for a developing country, how am I going to like bootstrap that liquidity? So the idea is that essentially, yes, you're aggregating, like you're using more powerful stablecoins to back less used ones.
And also your meme game was very strong. That's an important part of a presentation. Got to have strong memes. Thanks a lot, man. This is great.
Thank you.
We can only agree that memes are important.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next team up is Flash for All.
Hey guys. Sharing here in a second.
Hello. Thank you so much for allowing us to present this amazing project to you. We're excited to announce Flash for All. Flash for All is a simple UI that allows anyone to benefit from arbitrage opportunities in DeFi without the need for capital or code. This is our team. You have Abel, Alexander, Chris, and Dion. So, well, DeFi has allowed for a massive amount of economic opportunities, one of which is arbitrage opportunities between DEXs, right? The market is huge, but the market is inefficient, which means that there's multiple price discrepancies amongst the same asset in different decentralized exchanges, right? But to take advantage of those, you have to be a sophisticated developer with a deep understanding of DeFi and a substantial amount of capital to invest/risk, which leaves out a lot of people in the ecosystem.
Awesome. So our solution was built with this in mind. We built a simple interface that allows anyone to take advantage of our opportunities. As Abel has been saying, we're going to continue to iterate through the presentation. We want to make it so you don't need code or capital restraints on your opportunities to trade and earn money in DeFi space. This also helps, our solution also helps the DeFi market become more fair and more efficient in what they're doing. Dion is going to show you the demo.
Yes, so this is our simple, easy to use UI. At the very top, you can see the token pairs you're able to arbitrage between. We're going to select DAI and trade between that. The results are organized by return on investment. As you can see, it goes through, the first one goes to Uniswap, and it's DAI. Can't see the link. The current user has 40 DAI in his wallet. Any additional ones will be using a flash loan by Avi to get the additional funds. Once the user executes a trade, it will go submit a MetaMask transaction, and if it's confirmed, then the user will create his return in more tokens. If it fails, the only thing the user would lose would be his gas for the transaction fee.
No. Fails.
Okay, so how did we achieve this? So what is under the hood? A three-step approach. So first, we grab the pricing data from various DEXs. Currently, Uniswap and Kyber are supported. Second, we calculate the arbitrage opportunities, both usual regular arbitrage opportunity and also triangular arbitrage opportunity. And the good thing for the user is we include also the trade fees. So we find the trades, so you don't have to. And finally, also if you don't have enough funds in your wallet, we are able to provide you the funds with a flash loan to fund the trade. So this is a solution. How can we think of extending it going forward? So one possibility is to provide an automated execution, because as you've seen, most of the time it's of course negative, and it's difficult to find the right opportunities on the spot. Second is we could think of that you invest your money in a pool to earn interest when there are no opportunities at the moment. Third is also to have some kind of gas tokens covered and balance gas prices when they're quite high, as it is at the moment, and also add more features like further flash loan use cases to it. And finally, our idea is to establish a business model like taking a fee from assets under management, also take a share of each successful trade. So that is, in fact, our solution and our ideas going forward, and we are looking forward to your questions.
I'm all about giving users that don't have access to something a beautiful UX and let them use these new primitives. I really like the idea of making arbitrage more accessible to a lot of users. That I'm worried that like within your parameters, like it's almost like arbitrage. I don't know a ton about it, but it seems like if you have all the available parameters on your website, you could probably just figure out what are good arbitrage opportunities yourself. Like, why even expose this to the user? Why not just have it automatically looking for anything that will give you value and have it working? Like, is the goal just to expose users to DeFi and get them in? Because if we say the goal is then we're throwing them a slow pitch, and that's great. But is the goal actually like making money and have people incentivized by making money? Then like, couldn't you just run this yourself and make money?
So we thought about that a lot actually at the beginning. The thing we found inspiration from was like DeFi's apps and Pool Together. So it's something we didn't get to and kind of realized later of what you're talking about is adding that where you're just earning interest, and then we have the proprietary trading algorithm basically that's just executing on those trades to add more value to the people that are in the pool that we're in. And that's like the perfect way to do it, if to where not everyone's able to see the arbitrage opportunities, but you're able to get the benefits of everything at that point. That's the next iteration, is adding on that interest-bearing moment, and we can do proprietary trades there at that point, or proprietary trading algorithm. So, yeah.
Neat.
I'm curious, as a consequence of building this, which is it's really slick and well presented too. If you learn anything interesting about like the amount and magnitude of arbitrage opportunities that actually exist?
So we, like 3 weeks ago, there's probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 opportunities every hour. And now I've watched the efficiency of most of the stuff like the markets become more efficient. Also, what was it? Black Thursday really allowed, there's a lot of space there. So whenever there's a big upward swing, just understanding how long you have, so about 3 weeks every time before the markets become efficient in the DEX space is pretty cool. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting, project. It kind of reminds me of the automation that Gelato Finance proposes, but I think it's a bit more advanced. So I was wondering specifically, like, who did you build this for? Because, I mean, it seems that to me, you need to be able to understand pretty well how things work to use it. But at the same time, like, not so well. So, yeah.
So I'll say I built it, we built it, the four of us, we built it for a use case I had, because I was having issues where I was like, I don't have enough capital to make all these different trades. And I was like, there's got to be a way to do this more efficiently. And something's popped up. And then from a user perspective, we did want to dumb it down a lot. So if you're familiar with trading, or if you're like kind of new to the space, it shouldn't be too cumbersome. We didn't, if we like to continue it on, we probably have to add like a how to use the platform kind of page, but it should be really easy to just say, I clicked on DAI. I see there's a positive trade. I want to execute the trade. I don't need any capital if I don't have any capital, and then it executes, which we've been able to do that. So that's what we wanted to have happen there.
Awesome. Thank you, Team Flash for all.
Oh, can I just add a quick thing as well, just on top of that? So another interesting way that this could potentially develop is that, say, for example, you have, a fund sitting in a smart contract. Our technology can work in the background and look for arbitrage opportunities, and kind of spot ones that are perhaps maybe profitable, and then actually execute the trade, and without you even knowing, right? And then you're able to kind of take advantage of all these opportunities, and it's kind of all automated. So yeah, that's something that we're thinking about as well in the future.
Awesome stuff, guys. I'm always looking to see this really heady technology get exposed to normal users and have them be able to figure this out. So I always look for projects like this to kind of blaze those trails. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next up, we have my DeFi Pie. Jeff, you want to join and start your screen share?
Okay. All right, so yeah, this capitalizes on the trend toward personalizing investment.
Hi, this is Jeff Bennett with my solo hack. My DeFi Pie lets you roll your own absurdly diversified mutual fund, powered by DeFi. Customers for this include anyone new to investing and anyone terrified of current world events. That's crypto people who don't trust banks and retail investors who remember 2008. Now, you can buy a mutual fund if you live in a country where that's allowed and safe, but you have to choose from whatever the broker offers. It might have gold stocks, but not physical gold, paper Bitcoin, but not real crypto, and of course, you're handing over your funds to them and paying fees for the privilege. With my DeFi Pie, you can have all these things at any level of investment experience. And through the magic of DeFi, instead of paying someone to manage and rebalance your portfolio, you earn fees while traders do it for you. You land on a home page showing the underlying technology and how it works. Say you're a novice with no idea what to do. Just go to the model portfolios with performance metrics and copy one to start with. Now you have a pie where gold is Paxos tokens, crypto is a basket you've chosen by sector and settings, cash is a basket of stablecoins also chosen in settings. Equities are implemented by UMA synthetic tokens. To customize, click Edit Pie. And now you can set the asset class allocation on the left and choose proportions of coins in your chosen crypto sector and stablecoins by moving the sliders. For equities, you can pick stocks or ETFs. When you're done, save changes will calculate returns and backtest. When you're happy with it, choose an investment amount and create your portfolio. Now it gets complicated, but I found 2 ways to make it as easy and user-friendly as possible. If you know nothing about crypto, you can start with the Portis wallet. Or you can use MetaMask, it'll resolve your ENS name and avatar. But the biggest convenience is the mapping engine that finds a path between what tokens you have and what you need. Here, you need USDC and you have it, so it just takes it from your balance. If it's infeasible, it tells you why. If you don't have PBTC, you can't get it on chain, right? You have to make a Bitcoin transaction. So it goes out to P tokens and gives you a deposit address. If you have USDC, but would rather earn 8% on Nexo than use it here, it'll swap your DAI for USDC. When you're happy with the plan, click Create Balanced Portfolio, and it'll walk you through the process. First, it shows you the plan, which you can revise at any time. If you have equities, you create the synthetic first. Then it shows you all the swaps it needs to do through Ava and Uniswap, and the resulting final components of your balanced portfolio. Finally, you can manage your synthetic and the portfolio as a whole. If your synthetic is in the yellow or red zone, you can deposit collateral until you have a safe green bar. You can also request a withdrawal, which takes 2 hours. At any time before that, you can cancel your request. If you wait the 2 hours and no one challenges you, then you can actually withdraw and your metrics will update. You can also increase your collateral by redeeming some synthetic tokens, and you'll see the metrics change. With the balancer, you can edit the allocation. Say you want less Bitcoin and more gold. You tell it what you want. It lets you know what token transfers that will cause. And if you approve it and have the tokens, it will change the weights. You can also finalize, which prevents further changes, but is better for liquidity. When you're done and log out, everyone can see the current set of synthetics with collateralization metrics and balancers with their allocations. You can click on a balancer and bring it up in the balancer site, or click on a synthetic address and interact with the contract. I built this with Builder and Ganache on a fork of mainnet with scripts to initialize token balances and everything UMA needs in a Rails backend. Thank you.
Wow, super cool. Yeah, it's really, really nice. You somehow got every single piece of sort of like a mutual fund ecosystem. Nice work. And a nice UI too. I really like how you expose basically how everything works in sort of a user-friendly way, even though it's really complicated under the hood. One how it works question, and this is me being a little bit unfamiliar with UMA. Are you actually collateralizing and creating the synthetic asset, or are you choosing from a list that they already have?
Oh, it makes it.
Okay.
Now there are. So that was a lot of prep work. In order to do that, I have to deploy the creator contract, and then that has to be initialized with a bunch of stuff. So that's what all the scripting does in the beginning. So there's the app has the creator contract, and then once you're in there, it'll create the expiring contract and then deposit into it. And there are some subtleties to it for, if you want to use ETH directly. There are a couple of levels of this too, because it's meant to be personalized for any level of user. So this is kind of intermediate because you already, to understand synthetics, you have to already, that's a little heavyweight for a total novice, but you could easily have something where either it doesn't have synthetics or it picks one that already exists and uses that, or it uses I didn't get to this, but I want to do, because I don't think the balancer supports it yet, but there's a way to have a perpetual synthetic, which there was a paper on that I saw. You basically make a balancer that is 2 synthetic tokens with different expirations, and then it reweights it automatically, and then it swaps it. But the balancer has to be able to do that per block, and I don't think that's quite there yet. But when that's there, then I could do one of those as a perpetual synthetic, and I could even pick a synthetic like an index fund that already exists, and then I would also have a price identifier already existing. So it would be a lot, it'd be no barrier at all. And also you could do, with the P, I think the P tokens thing is actually critical to have other part of diversification is to have other non-Ethereum things. And of course, you can compose it infinitely. You could have a Pi DAO share, BTC++, right? You could have shares of other complex things in this as part of this.
It's really complex. You put a ton of different options and baskets here. Like it's really, there's just a lot here. It's really cool to see the difference between a 1 month hackathon project and a 1 weekend hackathon project. And you just skimmed right over the back testing, and I think I've seen you submit something similar with back testing stuff. There's like a whole back testing engine here that runs on top of all this stuff too, right?
That's a weird thing to do, because I come from traditional finance, where actually by traditional finance, that's where the data comes for this, and we do like custom ETFs, but obviously only with stocks, and even we rebalance quarterly, and even I was trying to say, well, why don't we rebalance monthly because our data's monthly. And they're like, that's crazy talk. A monthly rebalance, this is daily. So I had no idea what a daily rebalance would even do, because no one does that. So I did it. And what it turns out, and yeah, you can look at the demos live. I have a demo that comments out most of the actual blockchain stuff, which doesn't work. It's not deployed on mainnet anyway, so it wouldn't work anyway. But it just kind of like skips that and goes right to the server and assumes it worked. But you can actually play with the back testing and look at zoom in on the thing. We had a convenient apocalypse, so you can see the dip and the price, and then you can see how it had to rebalance really hard. I only had 4 minutes, so I couldn't show all that. But it turns out that rebalancing daily really preserves the value.
Interesting.
And it calculates the returns. It calculates traditional back returns as if you just bought this thing and didn't touch it for a year, and then it does the return on the back testing is what if it rebalanced every year? What if you actually had this in the balancer the whole time? What would it do? It actually gives you more. Like it was minus 50, and it was like 2.8 or 3 or 4% or something. So it seems to like slightly rise and maintain the value when you do daily rebalancing. Because I don't think anyone does this, or this has never been done in finance. So I wanted to back test to see how it would look.
It's awesome.
It's really cool. It sounds like you also use like a lot of like protocols, different protocols, and you mix them together. So it's really cool to see such a project. And yeah, I was just wondering, like one last question. So is the risk pre-allocated? I mean, like, do you have a series of sets that are already pre-allocated with a series of underlying assets, so that users can only choose, the profile risk they want to keep? Or is the users that basically is educated enough to be able to choose the allocation himself?
Well, that's what the model portfolios are for in the very beginning, right? So there are a bunch of models, like a conservative one, crypto. There's some that don't have synthetics. There's some that are just mostly crypto and cash. It's all in the demo. You can see. So you can pick. You can start. If you're a total novice, like I said in the demo, you can start from one of those. Like that I started with a conservative one, which is a mix of, which is a lot of cash and a little bit of synthetics. But you can pick whatever you want, or you can design your own. You also can pick which type of cryptos you want. There's
very customizable.
Yeah, you can pick
Jeff.
the things you want. Now you're limited by the balancer. It can only have 8 things.
Yeah.
So,
Jeff, I hate to cut you off, but we're gonna have to move on to the next team. We're a few minutes over for the session, but really awesome presentation. I'm very excited to see how it turned out.
Thank you.
Thanks for your attention.
All right.
Thanks.
The next team up is OpenKYCProtocol.
Hi.
Hey, I'm gonna share the video for you.
Thank you. And I'm building a decentralized financial ID. So it's only me in the team, and why we need a decentralized financial ID. If we treat each address as a blank address, we'll not be able to give lower rates, better credits, and add a layer of trust. So we give more loans, or we add new services that a lot of banks has. We also have a problem of proof of financial support in the unbanked countries. So it's going to give us a lot of benefits. So what I'm trying to do is have a credit score, verification, ID, bank documents, decentralized finance like transactions and activities, and use cryptography to use like zero knowledge proof of encryption to keep the privacy, and let's go into the path of banks. So the current version is not working fully decentralized, it's not fully crafted, but the upcoming version will work on having a fully decentralized. It's going to use IDs, so it's not rely on any provider. It's going to use decentralized oracles instead of the graph. It's going to use Node.js and MongoDB, and we are going to have new standards for credit score and KYC. One thing that I'm planning to do is, so we use homomorphic encryption, zero knowledge proof, and we build a service execution protocol, so we don't have to give the full data to the services. Let's go to the demo. So let's sign in. Like the profile, we have some statistics, and we have the currencies that we support. In the identity section, we have the verifications that we are going to do. Maybe we are going to use some APIs, or we are going to do a kind of foundation to verify. We have the ability to add addresses by signing, and in the future we are going to have like the ability to add Bitcoin addresses. And here we have the proof of financial support that have been done. Here we can create one, but it's not like fully done. So, and it's going to be hashed on a smart contract, and after that, so other people can verify that it's coming from this ID provider. And here we have the DeFi usage history, and we have like here the statistic about the totally like logged in the DeFi services and like that. And this is my demo. Thank you.
Awesome. So it's kind of like a Web 2.0 signature-based system for DeFi accounts, or like an attestation to a person's KYC. Is that am I thinking of it correctly?
Yeah, like so taking the data and trying to make kind of IDs so other DeFi services can use it to provide like the more lower rate or other things.
And does it write anything on chain or give them some kind of NFT that another service could use to like on chain check that they have already gone through KYC?
No, it's like do the calculation and have it on an API and then do it. But like I didn't have a lot of time to do it, but I'm trying to like connect it with DID. So even if the server is shut down, another services can continue using it.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, identity on chain is definitely like a very big problem that many people tried to solve in the past years. So it's cool to see that someone else is working on it. So I was just wondering, like, why did you build this? I mean, did you build this for it to be integrated specifically by other projects, so that, like, is it an easier way for projects to process KYC, or is this a way for users to, you know, like log in, get KYC there, and then sort of free use this in other places, like porting this somewhere else?
Like, I think the client of it will be the like Compound and others, because if they want like to provide the other things we talked about, they need to use it. And so it's not directly will get to the user. Maybe it will go into the process when I register to a service, I can create an ID for me.
I see. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I guess that like one last question is like, it seems that you use that you are quite familiar with what you're doing. So I was wondering, like, if this was your first hack, or if you are you have been, you know, into the space for quite some time.
like in the blockchain space for maybe for 7 months, and like for DeFi, I'm totally new, like don't have much experience in it. I was just trying to think like how much it's working and how much it's providing value and things like that. And I thought this is important, like point why we are not having a lot of value in this space.
Yeah, keep hacking. It's it takes some time in this space to really figure out where you can have a lot of effect. So just keep building and keep hacking and keep attending these hackathons, and we'll see you at the next one too. Thank you for this. This is a good project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaki. Next up, we have Team Opium. Sorry, Opium.Team. They're going to share their project. And just after this, we're going to have a short 5-minute break. But I will let the team start their presentation.
My name is Ali. I'm a team lead at Opium, and I wanted to introduce you our project for Hack Money Hackathon. Initially, we wanted to build so-called Opium smart bonds, which supposed to bring people better yields for lending and borrowing the money using the peer-to-peer lending and utilizing Opium.Protocol and many other projects. We wanted to build like order book version or OTC version. We thought a lot about math, but we were so busy with our main project, so at the end we understood we are running out of time. So I'm gonna show you other project which we built especially for hackathon. It's called Opium Dashboard. We tried to put some publicly available data in there to gather them together, so it's gonna be easy for Opium protocol users to browse the Opium data. And here is the dApp. We deployed it on SIA Skynet. Here is the possibility to log in with many different wallets, especially Portis. You can check it out here. We connected our wallet. We signed a message to form an access token. Here we are logged in. Unfortunately, this account doesn't have any positions on Opium, so I'm going to show you how it should look when you have some positions. Here are the positions which are gotten from the Graph protocol. Thanks to them, we can browse easily a lot of data on all the projects in DeFi. And here is the Explore button, which leads you to the more explained overview on the positions and on the derivatives. And we actually wanted to add more data, but we faced some problems at the end, which we couldn't resolve in time with the graph, with our subgraph, which we implemented. But also we have some data from oracles, which we are currently using. It's like Chainlink, ETH2DAI source. Here is the link. And more data is coming. Unfortunately, we couldn't make more. So we will be working on that definitely in future, but thank you for your time. Goodbye.
So it seems like it's kind of like a Web 2.0 dashboard for the Opium protocol. Is that what? Could we dive in just a second and talk about what the Opium protocol is, just so I understand it? Because I don't think I even know what that is.
Sorry, I think I have some problems. Yeah. Actually, we were thinking a lot about our hack, and we thought that there are plenty of time, but we understood that there is not at the last 3 days, and we need to do something with that. And we wanted to, I don't know, pivot somehow at least to present something, because you were like, as organizers, were encouraging us, like, bring something, like at least something. So yeah, we tried to use some of the technologies that we developed like so far, like we have some kind of library for authentication, which handles like different kind of libraries. So we created our cool way to create access token for Web 2.0, but using Web 3.0. So we are like having EIP 721 to sign type data, so people could see what exactly they're signing. Like you see that there is a signature to log in to such project. There is an expiration for this access token and so on. So you don't even need to ask your users to register to save passwords or something, but you can simply use your Web3 as identity, Web3 like provider as identity, and you can even like allow users to do something on their behalf on your backend. For example, in our backends we have order books, so people could cancel their orders, and we can make sure that they're the right person. Yeah, and here we created a dashboard for the Opium protocol positions. We are really like the graph protocol because they're doing really good job for the community, and they allow you to just create some graph structures for the data and connect them together and query them. So yeah, that's basically it.
It's funny how building, I've built a lot of dApps, and it's funny how I'll get the contract done in an hour, and then it'll take me 3 days to get the front end where I need it to be. So I understand that there's a lot of those primitives within the front end that take a lot of time. And also you use these kind of events to like motivate you to just go hack on something, right? Like it's just a good time to go build something. So good work and keep building.
Thank you. Thank you.
Opium network is for swaps, right? Fixed rate to variable rate swaps.
Like has the different. It's basically a protocol for any kind of derivatives, and we were mainly focusing on swaps first. So we made the interest rate swap for compound rates, for example. Like you can get a fixed rate and swap it. Like you can swap your floating rate to the fixed one, or if you want to, I don't gamble on the floating rate, you can just simply imagine it as a futures on interest rate. So and many other derivatives like options on gas price and options on Ethereum to DAI and futures.
Did you build your own subgraph, or did
yes, we have built it like a few months ago, and we are still upgrading it more and more. And actually, why we don't have much of the data right now on the dashboard, because like exactly a few hours before the submission, there was some bug with them or with us. We didn't figure out it yet, but we created like some cool stuff. Like we wanted to show the chart, how much total value is locked in, and but that didn't work. Sorry.
Well, just get it done and get it deployed. Get it live.
Yeah, we will definitely. Just follow us on Twitter. You will know about it soon.
Awesome.
All right, I think we're going to wrap there. Thank you for presenting.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Like I said earlier, we're going to move into a short 5-minute break. So take this time to get up, stretch your legs, do a quick yoga session, and get prepped for the second half of today's session. See you in 5 minutes.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Ethan. We'll just give it a little bit to make sure everybody is returned. 2 seconds, and then you can kick it off.
Okay, I'll just share my screen in the meantime.
Sure. All right, looks like everybody's back. Take it away.
So yeah, so about 2 weeks ago, before I'll hit this play, before the hackathon, I was setting up a referral campaign for the company I worked for, and just noticed there were so many problems, and it was frustrating. So what we did was we came up with this idea to create a peer-to-peer referral system, where you can create referral campaigns within minutes. And it involves just connecting your Google Analytics through UT perimeters that connects your public key to the referral marketer. You deposit F or stable coin into the Portis wallet, and then it distributes per click or sale to the referral marketer. Right now, pricey software, time consuming to set up, and there's a lot of intermediary players in the loyalty market. So what we're doing is we have no upfront cost, doesn't cost any money for the referral marketer, takes minutes to create, and instantly connects your referral marketer's wallet for the payout. So the demo, unfortunately, we were one of the teams that pulled an all-nighter on Sunday, and we had performance issues. We were all pretty sad being last minute, but I'll kind of explain what we built to you. Basically, as a referral marketer, this is our reward per sale is our trademark product. That's where it will go out as commission when a sale happens from the referral marketer. But what we did was we built a reward per click scenario that we were trying to showcase to you from this video, but I'm going to explain. So basically, when you start a campaign, you sign up to Portis, and then goes to a screen where you select either if it's per click, reward per click, or reward per commission. Obviously, we're skipping the API connection to Google Analytics here. And then you basically go to the campaign feed, and you're receiving a referral campaign link that you give to the referral marketers, and it's that quick. And then your referral marketers use that link, and if a purchase happens from that link being tracked by Google Analytics, the payment actually goes out instantly from that commission. And that's after you deposit crypto into the wallet. So I'll go a little bit under the hood here. We use Portis for the sign up and also supports the distributed infrastructure. We also set up ENS, and we actually did test bots on Telegram to interact with CrowdLink, and that gives the proof of ownership. Also, P tokens allows for different swaps, and we actually did build the Bitcoin to P token part, not right now in the demo, but it's on GitHub for you to see, but we plan to actually incorporate that later on, add more to it. So what we need to do now is test with some projects because we're pretty ready. What we're going to do is a white label for any company that wants this for free. We actually don't charge the referral marketer, the referral creator. So that's really our next step. But as you see from the referral, how revenue works, we charge the referral marketer. So basically you average $100 as the cost to buy your product. You want 20% commission. Then we take a small cut when the referral marketer makes the sale. So that's why it's no cost for the referral creator. This is our team. Actually, our second hackathon we've done together. We did one in September, a Binance hackathon for a project called CrowdClick that did pay per attention model for advertising. We're actually still working on that. We got a grant from Matic.network. So we're going to launch that product this year. Also, now in the books is to launch this product this year to go live. So thanks, guys.
It's awesome. So let me understand what it is. So we've got, so I'm running, say I have my website like ETHBuild or something like that, and I want to drive traffic to it. So I set up referral links for other people that can post them somewhere else. And if traffic flows through those, you guys are kind of using Google Analytics like an oracle. When someone hits it, then you trigger a payment Web3 wallet using Portis. Cool.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah, exactly. And this API, we're going to find out when we talk to companies, but we can connect to Coinbase Commerce, right? If they're tracking their sales through Coinbase, we could do PayPal. So it's actually, the possibilities are endless. It makes sense, really. We do like 5 companies first, we do white labels for, and then we discover the pattern, and then we can scale the product for anyone to use. That's how we have to go about it. Yep.
Neat. This is a great hackathon project, right? It's like it's inventive, and then when you're on the other side of it, you're like, oh yeah, of course, but you kind of have to have the idea and come up with it. So good work, guys.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe no one. I don't know why the loyalty market isn't testing with peer-to-peer infrastructure for this. This really automates the whole thing. So it was a fun discovery. Now we'll see what challenges lie ahead, though, right? It's sometimes when something seems too good to be true, there's something amiss, right? So we'll see. Yeah.
Did you accidentally trigger something and pay a whole bunch or something like that?
Well,
like some weird Sybil attack on your analytics?
We did find something concerning with Google Analytics. We figured out how to manipulate and hack it so we could literally now, if we wanted to be a phishing company, right, we could actually change your Google Analytics data as a user, not even connected to it. So we need to, what we have to really do is look at where people are getting their payments and connect there. But we're going to send Google this vulnerability we found. So we'll see also what they say. But yeah, so that was already one barrier that we're going to solve, but that's going to be probably through just connecting where people are tracking their sales exactly for their APIs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice project. And I mean, like I remember that we did, like within our team, we did a hack some time ago just for fun. And it was a similar project, but for YouTube videos. And basically the creator was getting paid like based on views in cryptocurrencies. So this kind of reminds me of that. And I really hope that you guys will bring this forward. So yeah, I was wondering if, of course, now it's based on Google Analytics, but is there the idea to expand that and like bring it into like specific platforms such as, you know, YouTube or other platforms?
Well, I actually don't see anyone stopping using this system for like their YouTube channel. If they if the reward per click looks attractive, you can put a low amount there and just move traffic to your YouTube channel from the referral marketer. And we'll have some like security options. We're like trying to look at their IP so they're not copying, but we'd have to look more into that. What we believe works the best, though, would be the sales per commission. When I started talking to other companies, they want something like that. So it sounds interesting. We just need to, find the right ones that want to try it out. Companies do the white label, and then we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, like, I think that it's definitely a use case that exists, and people definitely want to, promote their websites and their services. So I think this is a great hack. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, agreed. Super interesting. And yeah, surprised it hasn't been tried yet, but a lot of potential here. Really interested to see like what specific use cases make the most sense. Are you trying to talk to non-crypto companies to try to deploy this?
Well, I think it's smart we start with the crypto niche, right? But actually using an onboarding ramp for fiat is very attractive because actually companies, we would pull from their card when a sale's made. So they don't pay anything, they just connect their card. So I do, and the companies that are making sales, they need to be quick sales. These can't be like you're talking with a customer for 2 months, then you make the sale. This has to be like a SaaS model where you look at the site for 10 minutes, you buy, or a general product. So it's going to be interesting to see if to analyze how actually crypto companies are tracking their revenue and how long it's taking. What is the process to eventually get revenue? But it does seem more attractive though, just general fiat, like companies that are not even part of blockchain, I think would probably use it the most. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ethan.
Right.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
Great
that
project.
presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to Team Auctus. You can start screen sharing if you're ready to go. Oh.
Hello, we are Auctus team, and we are presenting ACO, a protocol for decentralized options. ACO is a protocol for trading, mining, and exercise tokenized options. There are three different parts. The first is a factor for creating new call or put options tokens. Each of these token contracts allows users to mine and exercise options. And there is also an interface for trading those options using 0x protocol. On this demo, we will be using an Ethereum call option with a 200 USDC strike price. First step, we create the token using the ACO token factor. Using the factor to create a new option generates a token with a standard name that contains the most important components of the option contract. This is the token we have just created and its name. Let's consider that the price of Ether right now is below 200, and Bob wants to sell the Ether for 200 USDC. He could place a limit order on an exchange and wait if it gets filled, or he could write a call option we just created. To mine this token, Bob locks 1 Ether, and now he can sell it for someone else. After selling this token, someone has the right to buy his Ether at 200 USDC. He goes to the website, he chooses to mine the call option, he selects the option, he decides to collateralize 1 Ether, he is mining 1 option. He confirms and it's done. Now he can place the order for selling this token. He will choose the amount, 1 and the price, 5 USDC, and place the limit order. Now let's consider Alice. Alice believes the Ethereum price will rise because the new Ethereum killer will fail, and the market is still not pricing this. She wants to limit her risk to a smaller amount than buying 1 Ether, so she decides to buy the Ethereum call option for 5 USDC. It's quite simple. She goes to the website, she places a buy order of 1 option, and completes the transaction. Alice can now use the token to buy 1 Ether at 200 USDC. She sends 200 USDC and the token, and she receives 1 Ether from the contract. Now that the Ethereum price went up, she can go to the website and still buy for 200 USDC. She completes the transaction, and what happens is that the 200 USDC will be sent to Bob, and she will receive his 1 Ether. Now it's processing the transaction, and we will show it was processed and that the Ether went to her wallet while the 200 USDC went to Bob's wallet. Thanks everyone. We are live at ACO.finance, and we are planning to develop next. We want to make possible to exercise options without sending the 200 USDC using flash swaps, and also creating products like a volatility index or capital guaranteed products using interest to buy call options.
Yeah, this is extremely cool. I think it's, we're starting to see a lot more interest in options in DeFi. I guess the first question I have is, I'm not super familiar with like Open. I think is probably one of the, maybe the main name in decentralized options right now. How is this, in what ways is this different than that?
Opium use Uniswap, right? So you can choose the price you want to sell. And we believe using 0x order book, maybe another order book is better. and there are also some small difference, like we support call options more similar to traditional markets. And also we always use the collateral that represents the obligation. So there is no insolvency risk.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, probably the interplay between the two different systems, like an order book system and then an AMM system, will be really, really interesting and hopefully help bring you liquidity as well. What are the constraints on adding other assets? So like you want to add VIX or
just liquidity is pretty simple to add. It's the factory already supports any token or Ethereum as collateral. It's pretty simple. Even the name we showed would be a standard for all using the token symbol. So we already support. It's more about having liquidity, right? So we are focusing on Ethereum first, and then we can expand to other tokens.
Interesting. So you don't even need an Oracle? Because I can specify like whatever strike price.
No, because
it's all hard coded right in the contract, right? Like you hard code it into the ERC20, and then someone basically just chooses to buy that, whether or not, like looking at those hard coded values, they choose or not. It's kind of like escrow. It's kind of like an escrow contract on an option, and it provides simplicity because you have it very hard coded right into the contract. That's neat.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see it like really generalized beyond just Ether USD price. I think that could be really cool, but it's awesome that you put this together over a month or so.
And it makes sense too. It's like one of those good ideas. I said this earlier in the call too, but a lot of times a good idea, when you're on the other side of it and someone's already had the good idea, you say, oh, of course, but you don't have the idea yourself. It doesn't count. This is one of those ideas. It's like, it seems very obvious to load up those parameters for the option in a contract and just deploy it. Very, very like simplistic and kind of not brute force, but very visceral. It should be right there and everybody can see it exactly, and they can choose those parameters. They don't have to like dive into some weird equation to figure out whether or not they want to buy it. They can see right in the hard-coded details if they want that ERC20 or not. That's neat.
Exactly.
Good hackathon project.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, team, for presenting. Really appreciate that. We're going to move on to the next group, which is Vires and Numeris.
Hey, guys. I'm going to present my screen.
No sound?
Yeah, I guess there is no sound coming out.
Did you check the box, Bodan?
Sorry?
I believe it's Vitali who hosts the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's just no sound coming through.
Yeah, just a sec.
Is it some problems? Or
yeah, there is no sound coming out from the video. Perhaps you should check if the bot stops share screening and start the share screening again.
Yeah, but the Zoom said me that it's okay. Let me check.
Hello, my name is Bogdan.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Got it.
Hi, my name is Vitali.
Vires and Numeris team, and we want to introduce you Immortal Finance Project. That's our team. So what we built? We built a service that automates CDP protection using user tokens as a fuel. So when a collateralization level drops, we use that layers to recover the desired collateralization ratio. The core concept is layered CDP protection that allows for users to set up and arrange tokens from their wallet that used to automatically recover the desired collateralization ratio whenever it's in danger of liquidation. So how it works? We have a user of CDP, and that user wants to ensure that the CDP won't be liquidated while he sleeps at the cost of some of his tokens. So the user generates a protection contract from the factory. He sets up operator address required for automation, minimal collateralization, and target collateralization parameters. He also approves collateral token, like a token for the contract to rebalance CDP. Then the user decides what tokens are going to be used as a protection layer, determines desired liquidation order, and approve them for protection contract. Note that tokens remain on user's wallet. And when collateralization level drops below a minimal collateralization parameter, CDP recovery becomes available. So operator, automation service provider, is now able to call heal method to liquidate the required amount of tokens from the user's wallet to restore collateralization level to target collateralization. If a layer tokens run out, rebalance mechanic as it sells part of a collateral to replace the debt will close the gap. And now, Vitaly, we show it how it works in practice.
Yeah, I'll show our two key features. The first one is our heal. So by calling heal, you can restore collateralization level from 150 to 165. And you'll see that now. Yeah. And the second feature is you can use your collateral to pay in your debt. So let's say we want to pay 35 DAI and rebalance our CDP. So we have basic CDP features here, such as collateral and debt borrowing repay. And also we have protection features, such as hidden options, rebalancing options, and protection layers as well. And you can add other protection layers with other tokens. So now you can see that we paid our debt using our collateral, and we currently work on Aave protocol using Uniswap flash loans, but we also will add support of Compound, Maker, and DivideX. Thank you for your attention. Yeah, that's all.
So just to understand that real quick, basically when you collateralize some ETH and get some DAI back, the price of ETH could go down and you are at risk of having that liquidated. So you guys have a service where they can define in a contract where to keep the minimum, and basically some operator will sort of automatically move those tokens in and re-collateralize that loan to keep it from getting liquidated. Is that a pretty good summary of it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that what is cool that you can use any token that's traded in Uniswap. For example, you can use open tokens, as we showed, and I'm gonna show you, I think, again. You can see our use cases. So when open tokens, when Ethereum drops, open tokens go up. So it's a really cool use case. Also, you can use pool sets, portfolio tokens. Yeah, so for this service.
Yeah, so literally when you use for example, put option tokens like open, you can make your CDP literally immortal. And so how our project is called. So when Ethereum drops down, put options tokens go up, and your CDP is fully immortal, fully secured.
Can you tell us about the operators? Are the operators just basically incentivized by some fee to do this, or do you guys run the operators, or can anyone run an operator?
Well, the user can set up the preferred address of operator. We've been thinking about incentivization of operator, but that we not implemented it yet. So So when the collateralization drops a minimal collateralization parameter that's set by user, healing window is open, so operator can call heal method. The heal method will take a look on what layers are set by user and liquidate the tokens from user's wallet in order of preset layers. And if all the tokens run out, then the rebalance option is available. And so the CDP going to be rebalanced by using a collateral.
I'm from Compound, and this is the biggest problem that really big borrowers have, and one of the reasons that they might hesitate to use like a decentralized borrowing protocol is because of fear of liquidation. So I think this is like a gigantic problem that needs to be solved. I like that you put together a lot of different pieces to do it. I think that like being an operator could be its own business, you know, like someone who's a very good operator is essentially like an insurance provider for CDPs. It's a huge and sort of useful and impactful problem to solve, because there are a lot of people that want to borrow a lot of, say, stable coins or crypto, but they never want to get liquidated. And right now you have to sort of self-monitor and do it yourself very manually to avoid being liquidated. So a system to help solve that is super useful.
Yeah, and we're gonna add Compound in next sprint, I think. So
awesome.
Gonna be useful also.
It's a really nice project and really useful. I think one question I have is like, do you have some sort of, I mean, like, it looks like the system is really well done, but I was just wondering what happens like with adverse market conditions. So what happens if there is like a really big spike or market fluctuation? So like, how does the system react to this? Like, are you just, I mean, do you get liquidated? Is there like anywhere a chance to ever get liquidated, or is that like this never happens?
Well, it depends on CDP provider protocol oracles. So if you use Aave, then oracles by Aave. So if our protocols say that it's a spike, it's a Ethereum drop down. So as I said, healing window is open now and operator could liquidate it. So we've been thinking about this as a problem of spikes, but still not implemented solution.
Yeah, no, of course, it's definitely not the very first thing to do, just like future-proof, I would say.
Excellent.
Yeah, great project, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Team Cover with both of the Toms. I'm going to play your video for you, so just give me the signal when you guys are ready to go.
I'm good. Tom, are you good?
Yep, I'm good.
Cool. Yeah, fire away. Hello, welcome everyone.
Apologies. Oh, here we go.
All right, this will be on YouTube. We were having a Zoom-related difficulties. Fantastic. Hello, welcome everyone. This is our Hack Money 2020 presentation. We're going to present to you Cover. This is what we've been working on for the last month. So when I say we, who are we? So if we flick to the next slide, there's me, Tom Waite, and Tom French. We're buddies from university, and we both kind of ended up working in, or at least studying Ethereum. And so we came together to build what we call Cover. So what is Cover? So our hack, so at its core, it's a DAI to another stablecoin, in this case, BUSD, protective options market. And it was motivated by the events of Black Thursday. As we all know, on Black Thursday, price of ETH collapsed, and this pushed up the price of DAI, which in many cases burnt some CDP holders because they had to buy DAI to pay back their CDPs, but the price of DAI was higher, and so it cost them more. So this hack is an attempt to try and think about some possible solutions to that. We flick to the next slide. So what is this hack? So basically somebody can, a CDP owner can go along and pay for the right to buy DAI in the future at a particular price, and they will pay for that right in a separate stablecoin, such as BUSD. It operates around a liquidity pool model where option sellers are adding liquidity into this pool, and then in return they get minted LP tokens, which entitles them to a share of the pool premiums. And we use various technologies to make this possible. So we link to Aave to earn some yield. We use Uniswap, the Uniswap V2 exchange of price oracles behind the scenes to do the swapping. We use Bubbler for testing and development, and on the front end, React in ENS. We're now going to cut through to a short demo just to demonstrate what we've been working on. And so this is the page of our hack. On the left-hand side, you can see various columns to buy options, to exercise your options. At the moment, we've deployed on this screen that you can see here, there's a market deployed here between DAI and BUSD. We use various factories to deploy these, so anybody could go ahead and deploy any other option market that they wanted. Tom's now just going to do a quick demo of what buy options might look like. So this is the interface. You specify the amount that you want the option. You'll see a premium pops up. So this is the amount you have to pay. And then you'll go through the, we don't need to do this right now, but you'll go through the approve, buy option, setup, MetaMask will pop up, all that good stuff. If you go to exercise options, I think we set up some before. There we go. So this was us playing around before. So you'll notice that with an option, there's an expiry time, which is the time by which you have to exercise your option and basically cash it in or not cash it in. And so this is a platform where people can manage this. And the whole idea is that someone can go out and take out an option to buy DAI, buy an amount of DAI for BUSD. In the future, we're looking to add, and this is a good example. Tom is demonstrating how someone could deploy, in this case, an option market between DAI and SUSD. Cool. With that, we'll flip back to the presentation and wrap up. So what are our next steps? So we've got a few next steps. We want to improve our pricing and benchmarking, and to add support for other stablecoins. We have some difficulty around differing decimal places for different stablecoins. We want to add in a feature where when someone exercises their option and they get all this DAI back, we want immediately then to be able to transfer that to pay off their CDP and close it. So that's us. So you can find out more about this at our GitHub, and thanks for listening. We've been Cover, and thank you very much. Great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, that's great. So I may have missed this, but how are options are priced on a curve right now? How is the price set or determined?
Yeah, really good question. So option pricing surprised me. So this is the first time I've ever looked at option pricing. It's like a highly non-trivial problem. And there's all sorts of different ways to do it. You can use something called a binomial model, where you can try and like sort of model, you sort of predict how the price will change in discrete steps as you go along. There's a quite a famous popular thing which is called the Black-Scholes, which relies on quite a physicsy sort of underlying theory, but it allows you to try and incorporate things like volatility and strike price and all these sort of things to try and predict what the price will be in the future. So at the moment, we use a Black-Scholes approximation that's valid for short time periods. It's valid for not too large distances between the strike price and the price of the underlying asset. So there's some assumptions around the current model, and so that's what I was referring to in terms of benchmarking and pricing. So it's a Black-Scholes approximation at the moment.
Cool.
But yeah, just to expand. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to expand. So this cover was kind of like our approach to solving this one particular problem that we found. But then along the way, we kind of realized that this can be a lot more general. As you saw on those screens, you can deploy an option market for any other. We wanted to go down like a very Uniswappy type thing where anybody can go onto the platform and destroy and deploy a pair for the two assets they're interested in. And one of the big design challenges that we came across was liquidity in this, because liquidity is key when you're building options. And so we decided to go not down like a vault sort of single token type model, but instead have a liquidity pool, because then if you've got like a DAI BUSD model, all option series, all different types of options with different expiry dates can all be pooled into this one same place. And so it's a model that's been pioneered by Hedgick and a couple of others, and we quite liked it. So we took that and then we built these kind of infrastructure around it. We built the Uniswap stuff. We built these factories so anyone can deploy and market. We built a subgraph to index option activity on chain. And so, yeah, so it was kind of like an attempt to solve one particular problem that we came across and found ourselves. And then we think it can maybe go a bit further.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think one question I have is if you are planning on adding any other assets as well, like other than stable coins, I mean.
Sure. Do you want to take that, Tom?
Sure. Well, the whole what we're aiming towards in the second half of the project is generalizing this so that it's a one-click deploy for any pair that you could want. So we don't have to deploy this for other stablecoin markets. If you have a pair that you want, you can go click deploy, and then it will shoot out a liquidity pool, an options market, and an oracle based for that. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the neat part here is the extensibility. Anyone, like you said, anyone can take, like Uniswap, anybody can take any given token. I can go deploy I can go deploy Austin coin, and then I can create an option pair between that and like USDC or something. That's the key here.
Yeah, and quite often that could be problematic because different option series quite often are like kind of like siloed by themselves. So if you have this like pooled liquidity, then it definitely helps make that a lot more feasible.
With the downside of
systemic risk,
possible. Exactly. One thing hits the fan, it all hits the fan.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly how things should be. I think like it should be like open and people can interact with it and take things forward and sort of iterate and deploy what they need and what they're interested in, and for sure. And yeah, it's been really exciting. Learned a huge amount, and yeah, it was as I say, it was to try and tackle this one problem, and then just agree.
The pricing curve is definitely over my head, but this is interesting, guys. This is a great hackathon project. Basically, like today I learned, right? Like 3 different things I have to go Google and learn more about. Thanks, guys.
Definitely, definitely keep at this. I want to see where it goes.
Keep building.
Okay. Cool. Cheers. Thanks for everything. Appreciate it. See you.
Cheers. Thank you, Team Cover. Up next, we have Team Rarebirds.
Hey guys. All right, I'm gonna just play my video. Kenori from Rarebirds here, just showcasing the project that we've worked on. What we focused on is a platform for connecting investors in the diaspora with entrepreneurs locally. So say someone from Nigeria would like to invest back home and someone working on an interesting project, they can come onto the platform and raise some funding for that. And so yeah, I'll just jump right into it. I've had some projects on some campaigns we can take a look at here. So I created a campaign and I can go out and raise funds for it. So as an investor, I can drop in a couple ETH here, and the entrepreneur can go ahead and make withdrawal requests from that. Once the money is deposited into the campaign, it is then sent to, well, it is swapped for Ethereum to USD to SUSD, just so we can have some stability when dealing with crypto. And that is then sent over to Aave to the lending pools to accrue interest over there. So before the entrepreneur can withdraw it, once they add a request, they will go ahead, get it approved, and once you get all the approvals, you can finalize it, and the money will then get put into your Ethereum wallet, and then you can go ahead and spend it as you like. For this, you need to have, I think, 50% of the investors approving what your request. So you can go ahead and request based on milestones, and you can just tell the investor what you're using the money for. They approve it, and you're good to go. So yeah, once that's done, we haven't really figured out what we're going to do yet, whether the entrepreneur will repay the loan once they're done. But I think that will be the best option that we have right now. So the interest that comes from the money that's sitting in Aave can either be used for helping the entrepreneur repay the loan, or sending return on investment to the investor. Some of it can go back to Rare Birds, the platform itself, to help keep it, alive. Yeah, so that's what we have, and yeah, so that's it for now. So hopefully you guys like it, and looking forward to some feedback. Thanks, guys. All right.
This is it's a good example of like when value and money is the baseline of the protocol. Once you can send value around, what are the first things you're thinking? And it's like, well, an investor and an entrepreneur, connect them on this like Web 2-ish site. There's a lot of Web 3 looking things in this app though, right? I'm seeing a lot of addresses and things that maybe if we could abstract that away into ENS or something, you might be able to have a few more users. When I think of the Venn diagram of people that could get in here and use this thing right now, it's probably a lot smaller. And if you could abstract away just a little bit, maybe the account stuff and some of the other kind of Web3 things, you'd probably get a lot more usage on the app.
No, that's very true, and we're supposed to incorporate Portis Wallet in there to make the onboarding a lot easier. But I think the cash onboarding or debit card onboarding wasn't really working yet, so we sort of put that to the side. And yeah, so we definitely had to make it a lot easier. So the campaign will actually have a name with a description, like make that super simple. The other problem we had to deal with, like the off ramp. Like, how do we get the entrepreneurs to pay without, if they're not familiar with Ethereum, and then having to now go and swap it themselves. So that's the other piece that we have to think about outside of that. A few examples of things we were looking at was Binance Card as one, Monolith is another, but that is, it's not exactly, it doesn't really, I don't believe it works outside of the UK just yet. So those are some of the other problems that we're thinking as, someone comes on. And like, for example, an investor would also like to know like how the entrepreneur is spending that money, getting some more transparency outside of what happens off the platform is one, going to build some confidence and say, okay, I know what's going on. They're actually hitting the milestones properly and so on. So those are other problems that we also have to look at later on.
Yeah, and we have neat mechanics with funding with Ethereum. We're seeing things like Gitcoin grants and quadratic voting. There's so many new mechanisms that you could apply to this age-old, entrepreneur investor relationship. Sorry, I think I jumped on something else there. I'm gonna mute. I'm muted.
No. No, exactly. I mean, it opens up a lot because one of the problems that a lot of these entrepreneurs and investors have is that there are no institutions to help with these sort of investing. Like, you have a lot of people in the diaspora who have the knowledge and have the resources, but the trust to now give it over to someone else to do the investing and hope that they will do the right thing with it is the part we're trying to bridge and sort of open that up with the blockchain here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one piece that could be added is the fact that maybe funding is delivered in multiple tranches. So basically, it's not like just one-off, but it's based on somehow based on progress. So that could be like one addition that you could put in the system.
Yeah, I mean, right now, and say an investor can put in like 4 ETH. You can request a 1 ETH and tie that to one milestone. So once they approve that, then you get the 1 ETH, and then once you show progress, then you come back and do another drawdown. So that's sort of what we're looking for, or at least working for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this problem space, basically like taking a pool of funds and then trying to decide where to allocate them. I think there's like a ton of interesting projects coming out now. It makes me think of DAOs like Aragon, DAOstack, but also even these newer projects like Zora or Foundation that are trying to connect creators to like their fans. And there's so many different sort of businesses in Web 2 that are just niche use cases of this basic concept, like GoFundMe or Splitwise for like splitting bills. I actually think there's a lot of room in Web3 to find the right application of this this technology. And yeah, the front end, yeah, it'll be interesting. Like you could make it more like protocol-ish, where like other people can sort of build a front end to it and decide how to use it, or build your own application if you choose the vertical that you want to go after. But this general space is super interesting.
No, it's very true. And I think from research, what really works is that if you're going to come in with crowdfunding, it has to be very focused. If it's too broad, it tends to fail. So you come in and make sure that you pick a vertical to start off with, and if you want to expand later on, then you can do that. So we're I think working with the diaspora, because we know that there's a pain point there with entrepreneurs on the ground, is one good start. Whether that's going to be, or within that, looking at tech or focusing on, say, consumer products. That's like, you can then divide it a little bit further, but you definitely want to focus a lot on one area and then start from there.
I really like that. Focus on the vertical where that's needed, see what they need, like give them what they need now, and then watch and see and find out what kind of things emerge from that. And a whole product can emerge from that. Good hackathon project. Good use of it there.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenroy. And with that, we're going to move on to the final presentation of today, which is Team PayMaestro. And I'll let Adam share his screen and start when he's ready.
Cool. So just for click play, we're in the world of sort of gasless transactions, which are trying to make things easy for users, but they're confusing and onerous for developers. GSN2 is great, but it's pretty complicated. PayMaestro is about a Paymaster as a service, which is taking one of the components of GSN2 and trying to offer it for developers in an easy, user-friendly way. So with that, I'm going to press play.
Right. Let's talk about PayMaestro. So PayMaestro is a hack money, and so PayMaestro is a Paymaster as a service, so it's making it easier for developers to manage their contracts, manage their sort of gasless transactions, and also providing a little incentive up front. So I'll walk you through. So this is running locally. As a proof of principle, we've got two things here. We've got the PayMaestro contract, which has been deployed here, and then we've got smart contract wallet. So this is just a dummy contract that does a couple of things. And so as you can see, we've got our contract here, and we want to enable it for gasless transactions. So we actually said it, one of the things you can do here is you can change the owner. I want to claim ownership of this. We run that there. Hopefully, you'll see actually, we can't do that because our contract hasn't been added to the PayMaestro yet, which we tried to get set up with the PayMaster. We configured it locally. It's actually not working. So let's run through. Let's see what we might have to do. So, but I can go and take my smart contract wallet, deploy it, add it to the PayMaestro. Give it a second, and you can see it's shown up here. We click here. You can see that this target address exists here. Funder address is me, and it's active. That's cool. And my balance is 0.05 Ether. So this, as I mentioned, was a little kickback, which you can configure. So ever like any new funder gets a starter balance of 0.05 Ether. So now you've also got to remember that I'm wearing two hats. I'm also the owner of the PayMaestro. And as you can see, things aren't that great right now. We've not got that much cash. Our balance with the Relay Hub is 0. So let's just actually, again, do a little sheet, and let's just top up PayMaestro. Cool. We've got some cash there now. Okay, so as you can see now, we should be in reasonable shape. We've got our PayMaestro has got a balance with the Relay Hub. We've registered our smart contract on it, and it too has a balance. So let's jump back here. Let's go and try and do that thing again. So let's try and take ownership of this using the. Damn, it worked. Damn, it worked. That's some good stuff. So as you can see, that was a gasless transaction. Like if I wanted to change the owner again, that's like a 1953. As a user, just doing this thing, getting charged nothing at all. That was a no transaction. All right. Alrighty. So we proved the concept. We proved that the thing kind of works. It kind of does what it's supposed to do. What if maybe we then decided that actually we didn't want smart contract wallet to be making any transactions anymore? See this? We can maybe go and deactivate it. Okay. Got it. So what happens? We're going to try and take that back. Oof. The target is not currently active. It's been deactivated. As you can see, I can then go back, reactivate it. Now you can see my balance is trickling away.
Stop playing. Sorry about that.
The idea. What? Cool. That's the PayMaestro. It's pretty simple. But see, if you have more contracts, easy to add them, easy to you have one balance across all of them instead of having to be managing lots of individual.
Kind of it.
Very cool. Yeah, so this one's near and dear to my heart for sure. So just to provide some context, basically GSN does gasless transactions, they do meta transactions, and they've recently split their architecture into this kind of, you're either the PayMaestro or you're the app builder, or I don't even know really a ton of it, but basically what you've done is said, okay, so you've created this new PayMaestro class for gasless transactions. And what you created was a smart contract that's basically like a whitelist system for that PayMaestro. Is that correct? And then put a UI on front of it.
Yeah, so it's so with new GSN, it's better, but you've sort of got to manage more stuff to get set up. And one of those things is like basically just deciding yes or no, are you going to pay for this transaction? And it's a thing where to do it, you need to deploy a whole nother contract. And so it's actually saying you don't need to deploy a whole nother contract. We'll pay for you, just need to give us the money. We'll take care of that, and trying to provide that UI so it's a bit more like plug and play. Like there are free paymasters on, say, Ropsten on the testnet, but that's still kind of fake. Like if you actually want to like realistically test for getting set up, you need to have a proper PayMaestro, and so it's kind of spoof that, but then also would then work in production too.
And this PayMaestro is basically a whitelist system for the contract. Like you had smart contract wallet was just some arbitrary contract, and you whitelist the contract. Is that right? Like you're allowing anyone to make transactions on that contract and you pay for them?
Yeah, so
okay.
So I had these grand plans of creating a whole range of dApps.
Well, that's next.
that would all plug in, but then like ran out of road a bit. But yeah, the idea is that you've got this concept of funders and these concept of targets, and funders are able to essentially add targets to the contract, and a funder then has like one balance across all of their smart contracts. So instead of having to have a different PayMaestro with a different balance, and having to manage that, you can just manage one balance in one place. And yeah, you can more easily like switch them on or off. And like down the road, you could get to a path where you say, apply different logic to different contracts. So maybe in some cases you want to offer gasless transactions, in some cases you might want to offer token transactions, and that would just be a matter of like augmenting the PayMaestro contract to know about those different classes.
Is that logic on chain, or could you do off chain? Can you do any off chain logic, or does all of this have to be in Solidity?
Well, certainly the way I thought about it was mostly all in Solidity, but like it kind of depends on what the PayMaestro like dApp looks like for like developers managing it.
Awesome. I'll be bugging you about this when I start working more on GSN stuff in a week or two.
Well,
this is perfect.
Like I should have said, the scaffold ETH like framework was Austin says is a really great starter pack on Ethereum.
I'm partial.
The project sounds really good, and I think it can help in improving UX as well for a lot of dApps. So yeah, looking forward to see that like integrated. Like, are you planning on reaching out to some specific dApps, or do you have anything in mind? Because I see that, like, especially for beginners approaching the system, I see that to be useful. I don't know, like for example, for wallet, being able to like sort out things on behalf of their users and simplify the experience. So yeah, I don't know if you have anything like that in mind.
Yeah, I think certainly that like I think my first priority would be like really locking down the like payment, like money management side of things. And like the thing I like about it is that it's building on GSM, which is this open network. Like it is quite a crowded space. There are quite a lot of people creating sort of relayers that enable gasless transactions. I like the open side of it, but then like I see it being sort of just an extension part of that utility, where it doesn't necessarily need to be, wouldn't need to be like fully endorsed by GSM, but it's an implementation that is like presumably in line with their whole thing, which is like making it easier, but also making it open and doing it using those open source contracts.
Yeah, I really like it. It's pretty, like in concept, simple, but really effective. Like just a sort of really good abstraction of needing to deal with gas. I like this sort of funder targets framework as well. I think there's, I don't know what you plan to do with it, but I think it could be pretty useful, and even like maybe a business too. People ask for a variety of different contracts or something.
And even down the track, I thought if it, again, given more time, there's like a world where you charge a fee for as the PayMaestro, and there's a business side there, but also there's this thing where if you've got all these businesses who are having to lock up Ethereum to pay for their users' transactions, if that's happening in one contract, PayMaestro could be smarter and actually be making interest on a bunch of that and only be funding the Relay Hub with the balance that it actually needs to run the daily transactions and sort of getting like using that economy of scale. So you've just not got all this like ether like gathering dust while I was spending on gas.
I think it's just awesome. Just the building that's happening here, right? Like the community and the extensibility, and probably some of your work that you did here, I'm going to merge back into Scaffold Heath. So there's a lot of like compounding pace that happens with this like extensibility, and it's really cool to just have more people building in these weird corners of Ethereum that help us, helps everyone kind of stand on those shoulders. So good job, good hackathon project.
Thanks a lot, guys.
It's definitely something that we all struggle with. So yeah, it's really useful.
I think that's it. Thank you, Adam, for presenting.
Thank you.
That's another Hack Money judging session that's on the books. I want to thank everybody. Whoever's still on the call, feel free to unmute. We're going to give some appreciation for the judges and the teams that have made it this far. It's a pretty big milestone to be presenting to a panel of judges after a month of work. So big kudos for the teams that have presented on Monday, yesterday, and today, and we've got a bunch more sessions coming up. So just in recognition of that and the feedback of all the judges, let's give some golf claps. There we go. Again, there's a bunch of sessions in the next few days, so follow along. We'll be live streaming them on our YouTube and Twitter. And the next big thing is the closing ceremonies on June 2nd. I would love for all the hackers to attend that, so please make sure to keep an eye out for that. We'll be sending out a link for that shortly. We've got a ton of awesome judges lined up, including Andreas Antonopoulos and Vitalik Buterin and a bunch of other people. So we'd love to have you join us there. And with that, I think we can wrap up. So
thank you,
thanks again, everybody.
Woo! Happy Wednesday.
The
Bye, thank you.